welcome back. And we are moving into our first segment this morning as we explore the world of veganism. We have with us on set nutritionist Doris Sutherland. Good morning and welcome. It's great to have you here, and I think one of the things that people perhaps don't always understand is these different forms of eating that have become so popular. Yeah. So let's start off with that. There is vegetarianism and there's veganism. What's the difference?
Okay. Lately there are many people that are trying to go vegan or vegetarian. Mm-hmm. Okay, but there are different types of vegetarians, and then we have the strict vegans. Mm-hmm. For example, in the vegetarian category, we find some that are semi-vegetarian, meaning that some would eat protein, other days they would eat less protein or go strictly vegetables and carbs. Mm-hmm. The other type of vegetarian is the lacto-vegetarian, where you see they would consume basically dairy but no egg and no meat. Then we have the ovo-vegetarian, where they would be consuming egg, mm-hmm, but no lactose and no meat. Then we have the lacto-ovo, which is a combination of both, and then there's also the pescatarian, mm-hmm, okay, when they consume fish but no dairy, no egg and no meat.
Now I've heard many reasons, and I want to ask you from your perspective as to why you find people are interested in this particular lifestyle, from people that you've met and persons who come in for consultations. What are some of the reasons?
Okay, the three main reasons that people decide to go vegetarian or be 100% vegan is either for health benefits, mm-hmm, for political reasons, or for their religious belief. Mm-hmm. The ones that would be strict vegans are the ones that would consume absolutely no source of animal product. Okay, they would be so strict sometimes that they wouldn't even use animal-based products. For example, no use of gelatin, no use of honey, mm-hmm, or nectarine, or they wouldn't even consume or wear any type of wool or leather products. Mm-hmm. Okay, so those would be the strictly vegans.
Mm-hmm. I know there are a lot of misconceptions about veganism though, because I know some people do it as kind of like a fad diet. Oh, let me try to lose some weight and I'm going to be vegan. Tell us about those misconceptions.
Okay, yes, that is actually one of the health benefits of being a vegan. You do lose weight, okay, and then you have a lower BMI, so you tend to be a lot slimmer. Mm-hmm. Okay, and it also, being vegan also, you consume less amount of bad fats, for example, less cholesterol, less saturated fats, less trans, okay, which also at the end helps you to improve blood pressure. It also helps you to reduce cardiovascular disease, mm-hmm, diabetes, helps to control osteoporosis, pain. Okay, so there are many benefits of being vegan if you do it the right way.
But it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle.
Yes, change. It tends to be a very lifestyle change. Okay. Mm-hmm. However, there's some of us that would go vegan 1 or 2 days and we go back to eating meat. No, that's
so that wouldn't reap the same type of benefits.
Right. No.
Now, Doris, I think that the challenge is that oftentimes people hear of new ways of eating and they jump on it and say, okay, I'm going to do this, do that. But you're right, they have some things very wrong about it. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what a strict vegan diet is like and what some of the mistakes that people make that they're not quite sure of.
Okay, a strict vegan diet would be one that would exclude all animal products and would basically contain a plant-based meal. Mm-hmm. Okay, there are many sources of protein that we can exchange for animal products. For example, all sources of beans, whether black, white, soy, mm-hmm, or red. Okay, there's also quinoa, okay, mm-hmm, which is a good source of fiber. It also has very good sources of protein and is also gluten-free. Okay, there's the amaranth, okay, which is similar to the quinoa in the form of preparation. Mm-hmm. Okay, there are different sources of seeds, for example, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, or chia seeds, which also have good sources of protein and B vitamins, okay, which can easily be prepared in whether shakes, pudding, or purees. Mm-hmm. Okay, all the green vegetables have more protein in regards to the other sources of vegetables. Mm-hmm. And then also we would include tofu, tempeh, which are other sources of soy. Okay, maybe even soy milk.
So that would be a strict vegan
A strict
diet.
vegan diet.
Vegetarian?
Vegetarian.
What would be a vegetarian diet?
A vegetarian, like I mentioned, would include some of those meals, and then also maybe if you're ovo, well, it would include egg occasionally, lacto, dairy occasionally.
Okay, or fish
Or
sometimes.
fish.
Now, is there any medical reason why a person needs to become a vegetarian or a vegan?
Okay, yes, there are many reasons why a person can become vegetarian. For example, the person that maybe would need to go on a gluten-free diet and cannot prepare their meals at home, then would probably have to go on a vegan diet. Okay, a person also that cannot tolerate dairy would probably have to go on a vegan diet. Person that has food allergies also, because we get a lot of food allergies maybe from shellfish, from dairy again. So it would all depend on the patient's condition.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, we know that veganism isn't for everyone. And so tell us about the kind of person who you wouldn't recommend to become a strict vegan.
Okay, now this is actually a myth, okay, where they would say, oh, you are pregnant or you're a child or you're an athlete, you cannot be a vegan. Okay, anybody can be a vegan, okay, once it is properly planned and once you try to follow it and obtain the right amount of protein and certain micronutrients. Okay, so anybody can be a vegan if it's done well. Okay, unfortunately, while being a vegan, you tend to look at what you cannot eat. But when you realize what you can eat, during that list you find starch, refined sugar, and a lot of other bad carbs. So if you are going to scratch out animal products but still be indulging on French fries, sodas, even beer, then you're not getting the right health benefits of a vegan diet.
So, what are some of the other common myths that you hear about veganism?
Okay, one of the common myths is that you won't get the right amount of protein. Okay, that is if we look at the amount of protein the average adult should have, it's approximately around 42 grams. Okay, 42 grams is, for example, a non-vegan, a glass of milk, 2 eggs, and a small portion of chicken. Okay, that would be, for example, 42 grams. With our culture and the way we're brought up, we consume way more than 42 grams. Now, if we evaluate a vegan's diet that consumes quinoa, that consumes beans, green vegetables, they consume up to more than 70% of the recommended amount of protein for the day. Okay, so protein is not really an issue there. The only thing that would be an issue is a deficiency in certain vitamins. For example, B12, iron, calcium, vitamin D, which most of them would require supplementation.
And I also know that it's obvious, there are obvious benefits in being vegan, but in a lot of instances, it's also really expensive to be vegan, especially if you want to go out and have a dining experience where you're eating just solely vegan food. How do you encourage people to attempt to become vegan without breaking the bank?
Yes, for some people, going vegan can be expensive, depending on the ingredients that you choose and also where you buy it. Especially like when dining out, you find that the vegan plates of food are a little quite more pricey than the regular foods. So what I would say is that try to, when preparing meals at home, try to go for cheaper options. For example, green vegetables, we can buy them at the market, we can plant them at home, or we can also just go for strictly different sources of beans. We don't really need to have quinoa every day. Okay, it's just having a variety of different plant-based products so that we don't be having a large expense when going to those types of diet.
Now, what about the fact that people who are on a vegan diet perhaps don't get sufficient calories for the day? Is that true?
No, they do get sufficient calories for the day. Okay, you get not only the calories from the amount of protein that they consume, but also they can get an adequate amount of carbs and also of fats, okay, when they prepare the meals.
So if someone wants to venture, they're hearing us this morning and they're saying, you know what, my cholesterol's high, I can't lose weight, I think I'm going to attempt to be vegan. What would be your advice to them?
Okay. Well, when you want to start to go vegan, you cannot do it overnight.
Yeah.
Okay, it takes time to plan and for you to adjust to all these changes. Not only you, but your body tends to want to adjust to it. So you need to start slowly. Okay, you need to make sure you get proper medical advice so as not to have any type of deficiencies. Okay, and it's important that you know what meals you need to replace the animal products with a plant-based diet. And you need to also make it something you love and you enjoy, because you're not going to substitute something you don't like for something you like that you don't like just because of wanting to go
You know,
vegan.
that's a really important tip, because I was vegetarian for a really long time, and I had a list of things that I enjoyed eating, because, you know, it's not just about eating lettuce and cucumbers. You can have really healthy and fulfilling meals as well. So what are some of the foods that you would recommend that you could eat on a daily basis, that you could incorporate and like?
Okay, well, in order to get also the calories, a vegan person would also tend to snack a lot. Okay, so they would get most of those calories basically from nuts.
Yeah.
Okay, they would probably be eating nuts all day. They would probably be eating soy products. We go back again to the green vegetables. So they need to be very creative in how to incorporate these products in their breakfast, their lunch, and also night. Those take time to know how to prepare it and actually get the right flavor, so it's something that you can enjoy.
That's the point. You can still use spices if you're vegan or vegetarian.
You can still use spices, you can still use sugar, however, with minimum amount. You can still use oil. Okay, it's just the animal products that you have to eliminate.
So give us a meal plan. If I'm vegan, what would be my daily meal plan for the day?
Okay, so for example, in the morning, you can start off with basically having or raw or cooked green vegetables, depending on the type of vegan, because there's also vegans that go strictly raw. Okay, so there you're getting iron, you're getting protein, and you're getting other micronutrients. Okay, you can combine that with maybe a glass of soy milk. Okay, you can have a fruit. Okay, at midday, if you want to go quinoa, then you could probably bake that with many other ingredients, whether vegetables, whether rice, or make like a complete stir fried. Okay, and then, well, at night, you could probably even do the same thing as midday or morning. Whatever is practical and it's something that you can prepare very fast.
Tastes good to you, too.
Do you know any vegan hacks that people can incorporate? Because I know I watch a lot of BuzzFeed, because I have no time on my hands. And I know that they do a lot of vegan mock recipes, like they do vegan mac and cheese, and they use cashew to make the cheese, but they also use nutritional yeast. Do you know any other hacks that vegans can use to replacement foods?
Yes, they would normally do a whole lot of stuff with different ingredients, even pastries, for example, with the nutritional yeast, with cashew. Dates. Okay, dates. Actually, nuts is one of the ones that are used the most, okay, to prepare different meals. So you can basically do anything. You can just log on to the internet, find recipes, and you immediately have how to prepare them.
Is there anything that you can eat too much of as a vegan or vegetarian?
Banana.
That would be unhealthy for you?
No, only if you go full carbs. That's the only thing that would probably be unhealthy.
Okay.
Would it be unhealthy to have too much fruit? Because I know that bananas are really sweet, and they have a lot of sugar. They have a high sugar content.
Yes.
So would that be a?
When it comes to fruit, normally just 2 or 3 servings for the day is enough, but also in different hours, not in one meal.
Right.
For example, having a whole banana would be like having 2 servings of fruit.
Really?
For example, 2 apples. So you might want to not to overload on bananas or have.
That's bad news for this
much
morning. I love bananas.
I know, me too, and then I found that out. That's really sugary.
Now, I think in all the conversations about veganism and vegetarianism, it gives one the impression that animal products are bad for you, that you should not have them. But in fact, you're a nutritionist and you're not vegan. So tell us a bit about what the pros and cons are of having animal products in your diet.
Okay. One of the benefits of having animal products is that you don't always have to depend on supplements or be having a follow-up on your diet to make sure you're getting all the right nutrients.
Yeah.
Okay, having animal products is a lot easier to prepare, but we want to go more for healthy animal products. For example, lean meats. Try to prepare the proteins with a minimum amount of oil, go low-fat milk. Okay, there's nothing wrong with having that. Okay, but if you go vegan, then you can also do the switch and still get the recommended amount of protein and nutrients. So we see benefits on both sides. Okay, you can, for example, lower cardiovascular risk with only going having animal products, and also lower your cardiovascular risk going vegan. Yeah. However, the more vegan you are, the less possibility you have of getting sick later in life. Okay, there are also studies that show that the more vegan you are, the longer you live, and the more healthier you are.
I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because I know that recently, I know a lot of parents nowadays, they start their kids from young, they introduce them to that vegan lifestyle, and that's how they raise them. Tell us about, if you want to, ways that you can incorporate veganism into your children's diet.
Okay, for children, it's
they don't like vegetables.
A very easy stage for them, because you start to teach them from young. Yeah. Okay, normally it's a little bit harder to change their eating habits when they're older. Yeah. Okay, so if it's something you prepare at home, you try to have the child get involved in the preparation of the meal. Okay, you start to ask them what are your favorite ingredients, and then you try to incorporate something that you and your child would also like.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it's okay for the children to be vegan, it's okay for pregnant women to be vegan, but they have to know what they're putting into their body. Right. And I think that's the part that we all don't know. You know, we don't know how healthy beans is, you know, and it's not as healthy when you have beans and rice. We don't know if chicken is better than turkey, if turkey is better than pork. Some of us do. I'm not saying we don't all know, but I think we don't have that information readily available. So let's talk about some of the things that maybe we need to minimize in our diet and other things that we need to increase.
Okay. When we go vegan?
In whether you're doing vegan or non-vegan.
Okay. Yeah. When you're doing non-vegan, okay, one of the things we need to minimize is the intake of sugar. Okay, the excess of sugar can lead to fat. Yeah. Okay, so if we start to restrict fats because we say, oh, fats give us high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, but we're not minimizing the intake of sugar, then we're not doing anything. So we would start by eliminating the sugar, then the fat, okay, and then preferably all processed meats because of the amount of salt.
What's processed meats?
Okay, when we talk about processed meats, it would be anything canned, tin sausage, ham, bacon, salami.
Anything prepared already, not directly from the
prepared
animal.
And cured. Okay, so those would be processed meats. I always try to eliminate those from the patients for many reasons.
Your potted meats, your sausage, your hams, your bologna, your even the packaged turkey as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what we want to go for is for lean meat, meaning the meat alone without the fat. Okay, and go for fresh fish, for example, not fried. We want to try to bake, boil, or steam. Okay, those are the best forms of preparation. Okay, and when going vegan, we just have to make sure that we're getting the right amount of protein, that we're replacing, for example, a piece of chicken for the right amount of beans. Okay, because for example, if we have our typical rice and beans, it's like having, when you total the amount of calories, energy, and protein, it's like having a piece of chicken. Okay, so we see that we do not need to include protein from animal products in the diet if we know how to replace it.
And let's talk about how healthy beans are, because we you know, it gets a bad rap sometimes. We know why, but it's actually very healthy for you.
Yes. Beans contain a very high amount of fiber, okay, which is something that many of us lack from our diet.
Yeah.
Okay, fiber helps to ease digestion. Okay, it helps to minimize the way the food is absorbed. Okay, beans also contain protein, like we've been mentioning. Okay, they contain B vitamins, they contain iron. Okay, so beans for a vegan is like the superfood.
Yeah. Are there any other common foods that we look at and think, oh, that's really unhealthy, but are actually really good for you?
Okay, other than beans, we would go for sweet potatoes. Okay, sweet potatoes for a vegan is also another
Potatoes?
plus.
Or
Sweet
just
potatoes. Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet potatoes are, let's say, another superfood that we can include in a vegan and a non-vegan diet. Yes,
And it's a replacement for regular potatoes.
it's a replacement and rice.
Okay. And what about milks? How healthy is milk?
Okay, milk. Well, we want to try to stay away from milk that would contain very large amounts of fat,
Yeah.
sugar, and also estrogen. Okay, estrogen we find that basically in most cow milk. So if we can do a plant-based milk, for
Yeah.
example, soy or almond, that would be a better option.
Okay. And if you're gonna go with cow milk, it's better to go low
With a
fat,
low
skim, what?
Actually, low fat and skim is the same. So we can, once we find a low fat milk, that's a good option. However, for diabetes, low fat milk still contains sugar. So maybe for them that wouldn't be an
Okay.
option.
Okay.
And what about eggs?
Okay, eggs are healthy. Okay, there's nothing wrong with having eggs in the morning, eggs at night. Okay, eggs is also a big part of an athlete's meal. Okay, we see some athletes having up to 8-10 eggs for the day. So there's nothing wrong with having eggs once you don't have any cholesterol or
Right.
heart-related
I was gonna say that because the other day I went to my doctor and he was telling me that my cholesterol is borderline high, and he said because I was eating so much eggs. But it's good to have just the egg whites in the morning, right? Because an athlete can eat eight eggs because they're burning it off. If you're not doing
If you're not
anything, it's gonna have negative impacts. Can you tell us more about? We're talking about superfoods because I know that avocados are a superfood, and I love avocados.
Oh, you're about to have your bubble burst.
It's not.
It's healthy. Go ahead. Sorry.
Avocado is healthy. It's healthy in fats, okay, and it's also a healthy protein. However, too much avocado can also give negative impacts. So normally the recommended serving would be a portion like this instead of a whole avocado.
Love avocado
Like
toast.
1/3 of
One
the
third of
avocado.
the avocado.
No, you can't have bananas and I can't have avocados.
You can have, but in small
In
portions.
small portions, yeah.
Other superfoods that we have available in Belize that would be great to add to our diet.
Okay, another superfood would be green vegetables. Okay, when we get green vegetables, we basically obtain most of the nutrients that these have. Okay, so we want to go more for greens. Okay.
Greens because for some reason, sometimes you ask for salads in Belize and you get iceberg lettuce. And trust
that's
me,
it.
it's stain. That's not that green.
No. Greens would include asparagus, spinach, callaloo, the chaya. It also include broccoli, bok choy. Okay, green beans. Those would be the greens that we want to try to include.
And those have protein, they have calcium.
Iron, B vitamins, water.
Okay. And other superfoods, we did greens, we did sweet potato, we did beans.
The beans, maybe soy. Okay, there's also a myth that having too much soy could give you breast cancer or also increase breast in men. Okay, having too much soy is okay. Well, for example, in order for you to start to increase breast in men, you'd have to probably have 10 glasses of soy milk for the day. So there's nothing wrong with having soy or almond, for example.
So they don't have to be too worried about that. And looking at portion sizes once again. So if you are having, let's say, a piece of meat, and let's do red meat because that seems to be the one that gets the worst rap, and I love red meat. So let's talk about what the proper portions are.
Okay, when we talk about meat, when it comes to protein in general, an adult would require maybe 6 to to 7 portions or servings of meat. That would depend on if you're active or inactive. Okay, 1 portion would be maybe the palm of this hand. But remember, we have 6 a day, so you would probably have to distribute that in the morning.
This in 6? This is
Yes.
what we're looking at?
So you could probably have, since you have 6 portions for the day, you can have twice in the morning, twice at midday, twice at night. However, you don't want to be having red meat 3 times a day. So you can choose other sources of protein to replace.
Okay, so it's not so bad to have it. It just is in small quantities.
Speaking of small quantities, can you tell us about some cheat foods that vegans have? Because I know Oreos are one. And yeah.
They can have Oreos?
Yeah, Oreos are vegan. Right? Nutritionist?
Didn't know that.
The reason
There's
why
a lot of sugar, though.
Oreos
Yeah,
are
that's why I'm
vegan or
talking about
any other
cheap.
cookies vegan because it does not contain animal products.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I was saying if you're gonna go vegan, you have to be careful on how many carbs you're having.
Yeah.
Okay, because you can't go vegan but then still have Oreos and have other types of sugar products
But
because you can still.
Yeah. But I'm asking about cheat food because you know you want to have like at least one cheat day for the week, or not feel like as if though you have to give up every single thing that you used to eat, you know, because you talked about beer. I mean, if you do drink 1 beer for the week or 1 beer for the month is fine. So tell us about some of the cheat vegan
Okay, that's
foods.
why you can go semi-vegetarian. Because if you are vegan, you don't have any animal products. But if you're semi-vegetarian, that means you can have, for example, the cheat day. Okay, which would be
So there are no cheat days in veganism.
vegan, no.
No.
In
Okay.
veganism, no. But in semi-vegetarian, then you do have this cheat day.
Okay.
You know, for the people who turn to this type of lifestyle, and you're right, there are many different, some people are avid animal lovers and just realize they don't want to eat animal products or anything made from animal products. Some people, for their religion, turn to this type of lifestyle. And some people are just looking for a healthier way to eat. And for those people who perhaps have turned to veganism or vegetarian, yeah, the next one. But if they've changed to this lifestyle because they want to lose weight or be healthier, but they're struggling, what can you tell them about how they can make what they're eating now as a regular Belizean diet healthier?
Okay. To make our regular Belizean diet healthier, we just need to focus on the form of preparation and the amount of food we're having throughout the day. Okay, everyone has a set or recommended amount of calories throughout the day. Okay, we might not know that specifically, but we can choose healthier foods by going, like I mentioned, low fat, low sugar. Okay, those are the main things that we want to try to maintain for the 3 meals of the day. Okay, so if we don't want to go strictly vegan, okay, we can start to find low calorie foods and also incorporate exercise. Okay, because if we do not exercise but we still indulge in what is low fat, low sugar, but we're not using the foods that we consume, then it's more than likely that we maintain the same weight, or that our health would just be, for example, on pause. So we want to do something a little bit more to lower what is the BMI.
Do you recommend that people go vegan cold turkey?
No. Not
Tell us why.
necessarily.
It's hard,
Yeah,
or
It's
not
something
healthy?
difficult. Okay, you like I said, it's very hard also to get vegan foods outside of home, especially when you're traveling. However, if you find that it's something in your culture, in your religion, and it's something that you need to follow, or it's because of some health reasons, then it can be done. However, jumping from vegan from
Non-vegan.
consuming animal food to vegan overnight is very hard.
It can
So
even make you sick sometimes.
Yes. Something very common in patients that are vegan is they have vitamin B12 deficiency, okay, which can lead to anemia, neuropsychiatric disorders, okay, nerve damage, okay, that could be irreversible. So it's something that you need to start from the beginning and not say, okay, tomorrow I'll go vegan, but then I will start having my supplements 6 months later. No, you have to start them hand in hand.
Yeah. So what are the supplements you need to take if you are a vegan?
Okay. It will all depend on the diet, on or if you consume certain foods that would have or calcium and vitamin B. But the main supplements would be B12, calcium, zinc, iron, and vitamin D. Those would be the top 5 supplements.
And what about for people who are expecting, well, pregnant mothers, and they want to incorporate some kind of veganism in their life? How do you encourage them to do that in a healthy way?
Yes, and we have mothers also that are vegan from before the pregnancy. So they do take their regular prenatals, and on top of that, they have to take other supplements. What we do with pregnant women is we need to monitor them more constantly. Okay, do follow-up blood tests, look for signs of malnutrition, hair loss, dry skin, dehydration. Okay, we have to look a lot more closer to pregnant women. And then it's all a matter of monitoring her pregnancy to make sure that she doesn't have any type of deficiency.
But she can be able to get the nutrients she needs from a vegan diet.
From the vegan.
Now, what about the types of sugars people use? In addition to talking about these different healthy lifestyle options that people have, a lot of people are steering away from your typical white sugar. Is it necessary to replace the sugar? And if so, what's the best replacement?
Okay. Well, for everyone, I would recommend to do a replacement of sugars.
Yeah.
Okay. For white, for brown. However, when it comes to amount of calories in the difference of these 2 types of sugar, the calories is the same.
Yeah.
The only difference between white and brown is that you tend to use a little less brown because it's more sweet than the white. So that would probably be the difference.
Yeah.
Substitute sugars are not really recommended. Okay,
So
for
your
many other reasons.
Splendas and your artificial sweeteners, not necessarily effective. And what about honey?
Okay, honey is also a natural sugar. So if you want to replace any table sugar for honey, that would be a better option also.
But not for a vegan diet.
For a vegan, for a non-vegan.
Yeah. Okay, so what's your final advice? Is it necessary to become vegan if you want to be healthier? Outside of the other reasons, the animal rights, the religious reasons, is it necessary?
No, it's not necessary to become vegan if you want to be healthy. Okay, what we need to focus on more is not just how our plate looks, maybe at dinner or at lunchtime. What we want to focus is on the quality of the foods more than anything. Make sure we have the right amount of nutrients with every bite that we take. Okay, so you don't have to become a vegan. However, if you will become a vegan, do it the right way. And if you're not going to be a vegan, also do it the right way.
All right. Any final advice to people for this morning?
Okay. Well, the only thing I'd like to say is that if you ever decide to become a vegan, do it carefully, seek professional advice, ask for help, do your research, try to incorporate foods that you like also, and enjoy your meals, which is very important.
Don't make eating a chore. Who wants to do that? Doris, thank you so much for coming in and sharing all this information. I definitely feel like I understand a bit more about veganism. And so for those who choose that lifestyle, we hope that you have heard about the supplements, about being able to balance out your meals and getting all the nutrients you need. And for those who feel like it's just a bit too hard, then maybe all you have to do is focus on what you're doing now to do it better, right? So thank you once again, Doris.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead now and take a break. And when we come back, we'll be talking about Dia de los Muertos.